Yeah, so what happened?
What made him decide to act this way towards Kavulich and Associates?
Yeah, is this all about the money? Is he like hurting or something?
That's a possibility, maybe property taxes went up or like maintenance costs or something.
Or maybe he's just being greedy.
Yeah, maybe he wants to try to get a new tenant in there who's going to pay a lot more.
Yeah, that happens a lot in cities like New York.
Yeah, you see it all the time. Landlords trying to force out the old tenants so they can jack up the rent.
Yeah, that's not cool.
No, it's not. But then there's the whole hidden camera thing, too.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That happened back in 2018, remember?
Yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah, and it shows a pattern of behavior that's not exactly ethical.
No, not at all. It's like he's willing to break the law.
And I remember he tried to downplay the whole thing.
Yeah, and he even thought about bringing the employee back.
Can you believe that?
No, that's just wrong.
Yeah, it shows a real lack of accountability.
Yeah, so if he's okay with that kind of behavior,
Right.
then is it that big of a leap to think he'd be okay with doing this to Kavulich and Associates?
Exactly.
Yeah, I see your point.
He's already shown that he's comfortable pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, and maybe he thinks he can get away with it again.
Right. Maybe he sees loopholes or gray areas and he figures Kavulich and Associates will just back down.
Yeah, or that they won't be able to afford to fight him in court.
And that kind of power dynamic is something you see a lot in commercial real estate.
Yeah, I bet.
These small businesses, they feel trapped.
Yeah, they've put so much into their space.
They've invested time money. They've built up their reputation in that location.
Exactly. So moving isn't really an option.
Even if their landlord's awful.
Yeah, they're stuck.
So what can tenants do to protect themselves?
Well, the best thing is to be prepared.
Yeah, like what kind of things can they do?
Before you even sign a lease, read every single word.
Yeah, make sure you understand everything.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions or even get a lawyer to look it over.
Yeah, it might seem like an unnecessary expense, but
It's give you so much trouble.
big time.
Yeah.
And remember those emails that Kavulich and Associates had
Yeah.
from August 2024, where they were going back and forth with the landlord about the lease terms for Suite 301B?
Oh, yeah.
Those were so important.
Because it was all in writing.
Exactly. They had proof.
Right.
So when the landlord tried to change his story,
They had evidence.
they were protected.
That's so smart.
Documentation is key.
Like receipts for your legal rights.
That's a great way to put it. And it's not just about bad landlords either.
Yeah.
Even with a good landlord, having everything in writing
Yeah.
can help prevent misunderstanding.
Exactly. It's always better to be on the safe side.
Right. And remember, negotiation is a two-way street.
Yeah, it's not a dictatorship.
Right. You can push back, you can ask questions, make sure the lease actually says what you think it says.
Yeah, for sure.
We've also talked about resources.
Oh, yeah. Those are important.
You mentioned tenant advocacy groups.
Yeah, they can be super helpful.
Legal aid organizations.
Uh-huh.
Even online forums
Oh, yeah. Those can be great for advice.
where people can share their experiences.
Exactly, because you're not alone in this.
Right. There are people out there who can help.
And who've been through the same thing.
Exactly. So don't be afraid to reach out.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing to remember from all of this is to trust your gut.
Oh, yeah. Your instincts are usually right.
If something feels off,
Yeah.
if you see some red flags,
Don't ignore them.
don't ignore them. Ask questions, do your research.
And write everything down.
Document everything.
Exactly,
Because
yeah.
even if it turns out to be nothing,
It's always better to be safe than sorry.
it's like that old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yeah, that's so true.
So being an empowered tenant,
Yeah, what does it even mean?
it means being informed,
Okay.
being proactive,
Uh-huh.
knowing your rights,
Right.
and being willing to stand up for yourself.
I like that.
Yeah, and Kavulich and Associates, they're still fighting this legal battle.
Oh, yeah, I hope they win.
They're trying to hold the landlord accountable.
Good for them.
And their story is a really good example of why it's so important to be an empowered tenant.
Yeah, for sure.
So as we move into the final part of this deep dive,
Okay, I'm ready.
let's think about what all of this means for our listener today.
Yeah, like what can they take away from all of this?
What are the key lessons they can apply to their own lives?
Yeah. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Wow, this deep dive has been really something else, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We started with like this simple office expansion, and now it's like this whole legal drama.
And a landlord with a secret past.
Yeah, exactly. So what does it all mean for our listener?
Well,
like,
how can they apply this to their own lives?
right, are they renting an apartment?
Right.
Running a business? Like,
Yeah.
what are the big takeaways?
Well, I think it's clear that knowledge is power, especially when it comes to being a tenant.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of finding a new place.
Or expanding your business.
Right. But it's so important to take a step back and really understand what your rights are.
And your responsibilities.
Exactly.
And to be proactive.
Oh, yeah, don't wait till there's a problem.
Right. Like, don't wait until you're in trouble.
Read your lease carefully.
Every single word.
Yeah, and if anything is unclear, ask.
Get a lawyer if you need to.
Yeah, it might cost a little bit up front, but it could save you so much hassle in the long run.
Totally. And those emails between Kavulich and associates and the landlord,
Oh, yeah, that was smart.
they saved the day.
Yeah, because they had proof.
Right, it was all in writing.
So important.
Documentation is key.
Yeah, keep a record of everything. Emails, letters, notes from phone calls, anything.
Like a paper trail.
Exactly.
And this isn't just about protecting yourself from bad landlords either.
No, even if you have a great landlord.
It just makes things easier.
Yeah, it prevents misunderstandings.
And disputes.
Yeah.
And remember, negotiation is a conversation.
Yeah, not a one-way street.
Right. You can push back, ask questions, make sure the lease really reflects what you agreed to.
Yeah, for sure.
We've also talked about resources.
Oh, yeah, those are great.
Tenant advocacy group,
Legal aid organization.
online forums,
Yeah, there are so many places where you can get help.
and information.
Exactly, and connect with other people who've been through similar things.
You're not alone.
Right.
And maybe the most important takeaway of all,
What's that?
trust your gut.
Oh, yeah, those gut feelings.
They're usually right.
Yeah, something feels off.
You see red flags, don't ignore them.
Ask questions. Do
Yeah.
your research document your concerns?
Better safe than sorry.
Exactly.
So being an empowered tenant means
Informed.
proactive
Knowing you're right.
and standing up for yourself.
Yeah. So Kavulich and Associates, they're still fighting this legal battle.
I hope they win.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
They're trying to hold the landlord accountable.
That's awesome.
And their story is such a good illustration of why it's so important to be an empowered tenant.
Yeah, for sure. Knowledge is power.
Absolutely. Well, this has been an incredible deep dive.
Oh, yeah. We've learned so much.
We started with a simple office expansion and ended up uncovering this whole world of landlord-tenant relationships.
And power dynamics.
Yeah. And I think the biggest takeaway is that we all need to be informed
And vigilant,
when it comes to our rights as tenants
no matter where we live.
or what kind of space we're renting.
Yeah, for sure.
So stay informed, stay empowered, and as always, thanks for joining us on the deep dive. This was a great one.